First story. My wife, F48, has been cheating on me, M41, while neglecting our 3 children. Waiting to file for divorce but scared I won't get my children. Hi all, I, M41, just need to tell someone about this. I don't have anyone near me, and I feel like if I write it all out, then maybe it can clear my head. This will be long, but I am putting it out there because maybe if I get it written, then it will make sense to me. So, I married my wife, F48, let's call her May, in March of 2008. We met at a party through a mutual friend. She had graduated from a community college working as a paralegal, and I was finishing grad school for biomechanical engineering. We hit it off right away, and within a few months, we decided to officially start dating. May was great. She was pretty, smart, kind, and would give the shirt off her back if that meant that someone else would be warm. She has one sister that is important to this entire thing. I will call her Jane, at 43. Jane and May were not very close throughout their childhood, but they became closer as they grew older. When May and I had dated for a year, there was a conflict with her landlord and she had 30 days to leave her apartment. I obviously did not want her to be homeless, so we decided to move in together. Things were great. One thing I admired is how simple May wanted our life. Things were early, but we were seriously dating. We talked about kids, about moving to a different part of the country, what we wanted in life, and it was like we both checked off all the boxes. When I finished my graduate degree, I proposed to May and she said yes. At this point, we had been dating for close to 4 years. Both our families were thrilled, and we ended up having a small wedding, saving most of our funds for the future. My parents paid for half the wedding. I only have one brother who remains unmarried, but with a spouse, so they wanted us to have an actual wedding. It was really fun, and it was one of the best days in my life. After our wedding, we decided that we wanted to have kids. Additionally, I got a job with a big company which forced us to move about 14 hours away from where we met. This was very hard on May because she really loved her family, and she was used to having them right there when she needed them. However, we had talked about this prior to getting married, and if the right opportunity presented itself, then we would take it. And this was that opportunity. So, we moved down to a southern city in the US with a great school district and relatively moderate housing prices. That is why we didn't have such an extravagant wedding, because we put a down payment down on a house. It was weird having a house in this huge job, but May and I took it in stride. One thing about my work is that I am required to go on business trips. At first, it was for 1 to 2 days a week. However, as I progressed my way through the ladder, it soon became 5-day trips, from Monday morning to Friday evening. I felt bad because I knew it was difficult on May to have her husband away for so long, but I made sure we had constant contact, and when I got back, I wanted to make sure that I gave her all the dedication she deserved. Plus, the pay was really good for this job. I knew that if I could stick it out for a few years, we would have enough money to start looking into having kids. Well, things changed when May called me multiple times when I was at the airport, getting ready to drive back home after my work week. It was odd because she would typically only call once or twice, but she then texted me frantically telling me that she needed me home ASAP. I asked her what was wrong, but she said to get there when I could. I flew out of the airport, and what was typically an hour drive was closer to 30 minutes. My heart was beating so badly out of my chest, and I was worried that something bad had happened. When I got back home, I flew through the door and it was completely dark. I started screaming for May, but it was completely quiet for a few seconds, until the lights came on and May was holding a cake with a simple plus symbol on it. I looked at her and was confused. "What is this?" I asked, and then it dawned on me. I asked her if she was pregnant and she said yes. We hugged, cried, and were so happy to finally be parents. We hadn't been trying, but we also wouldn't mind if we had children. From then the next 4 years were an absolute whirlwind. We had 3 beautiful daughters, each one being about 18 months apart from one another. Things started to become crazy, with having little children and my work continuing to pick up. I tried my best to be attentive and lessen my workload to help care for my children. What I did was make it so my trips were actually in town, so I didn't have to travel. I would start early in the day, helping May wake the kids, getting them ready, and before I would leave, I would ensure that they were packed, ready for preschool, and good to go. I would then come back in the evening, around 600, to have a home-cooked meal and spend time with my daughters before bed. As the years progressed and my daughters got older, my work required me to increase my business trip days, and it was now every week that I was away Monday to Friday night. I would keep in constant contact with my kids, talking to them every day. On the weekends, I would make sure that we would have either an activity with just the girls, and I so May could get a break, or all of us so we can have family bonding. The girls became more independent, and May was thinking of going back to school to get a certification in real estate. But we always held off on the idea until the girls were in their early teens. I encouraged May to go for it, but she also said that it was too much work with the girls, and being a full-time mom would make it difficult to get her certification. I didn't argue with her on it because what she was saying was absolutely true. Being a full-time mom was incredibly difficult, and maybe when the girls were teenagers or pre-teens, then May could get the certification. One evening, when the girls were in bed and May and I were in our room, she brought up the idea of moving. I was kind of surprised because I thought we both liked it where we were. Our girls grew up here, they had all their friends, all their interests, and they found this city as home. But May said that she was starting to feel suffocated, and that this change would be the chance she could get her certification. She said it would be like a renewal. I told her that this would make my travel schedule even longer. Where we were was right near a major airport hub, so traveling was easy. But when I asked her where, she said she already knew where she wanted to be. It was right on the East Coast. She said she found this house she liked, and maybe we could tour it on our next vacation to this area, in about 2 weeks. I was kind of surprised about how much in depth she already knew where to go, and it was apparent she had been thinking about this for a while. I wanted to agree with her, but my thoughts were about our girls. Would it be fair for them to just suddenly uproot our lives and go to this place where they would have no friends or connections? 2 weeks later, we went on vacation. The girls were enrolled in tennis academy sessions, as all of them were very dedicated and loved the sport. We had some free time and decided to go check out the place that May had looked at. Again, I was hesitant, but when we went to the area, May fell in love. Seeing her so happy made me wonder if moving was the right idea. I mean, we had vacationed at this place twice a year for 8 odd years. May then grabbed my hands and looked at me, saying that this was where she wanted to live. I told her that the houses were far out of our price range, considering we have 3 almost preteen girls that have to get to college, but she said she knew a house that would be right in our budget. It had been on the market for 8 months and was heavily discounted. There also was an open house the next day. So we went there, and May just about was head over heels for this house, and within 2 months, we had completely uprooted our lives and left. I thought we should have waited until the school year ended, but May was insistent to leave. We had talked to our girls, and they were fine with it. Though my youngest Lily, F14, seemed to be taking the move really hard. I noticed at first at how quiet she was. She said she was fine with moving, but I could see how difficult it was for her moving to a new school with only a couple weeks left to go. I sat down and talked with Lily, and she admitted that she said it was fine to move, but she felt like May had forced her to say yes. I told her that what she was telling me wasn't okay, and that I understand her feelings and will talk to May about it. However, Lily said to not tell her because it would upset May. Respecting Lily's wishes, I didn't tell May, but there was something in my heart telling me that something was wrong. The school year ended and the girls were enrolled in a full-time tennis program within our neighborhood. Everything was right there. We lived in a gated community with a huge tennis center, multiple pools, and right outside was a name grocery store. The girls were in biking vicinity for everything, and it felt like everything was going great. However, I noticed that Lily and our middle daughter Abby, F12, were starting to become more distant from May and I. We assumed it was because they were preteens and liked their freedom. May then said that she wanted to get certification, and I told her to go for it and that I would support her. Also, the girls were most independent, plus the classes were in the evening. So May would still be there for our girls when she left, around 7 p.m., and got back when they were sleeping, around 11 p.m. I didn't like the idea of leaving our girls alone for so long, but the area was very safe and the girls had a neighbor right next door if anything happened. Things were going well until one weekend. When I was home in the afternoon making lunch, Lily got back home and didn't say hi to me. She had tears in her eyes and she went to her room, locking her door. I was majorly concerned and went to Lily's door and knocked on it, asking her what was wrong. But she just told me to leave her alone. I told her that if she wanted anything, she could go to my bedroom. After a few moments of silence, Lily unlocked her door and it was apparent she had been crying. She looked around and asked if Mom was there, and I said no, that she was studying at the library. Her certification licensing exam was coming up. Lily wiped her tears and hugged me, just crying. My heart ached and I just hugged her back, not knowing what to do. Only then did I really notice how small she had gotten. Lily was always a bit bigger in size despite doing lots of activities and eating regular and healthy meals. This summer, I noticed she had lost weight, but now I was seeing just how much weight she had lost. It had me concerned, but I wasn't sure what to say. I asked Lily what was wrong, but when we released she just shook her head, said thank you, and closed the door. I was absolutely confused, unsure if this was just preteen emotions or if something was really wrong. My first instinct was to call May and ask her what to do, but I wanted to honor Lily's wishes and so I didn't call May. However, I soon became curious and went to our garage where there were medical documents sorted away. I went ahead and pulled out Lily's annual physical documents and noticed how drastically her weight had gone down. At 12, she was 5 feet 3 and 130 pounds, and then at 14, she was 5 feet 4 and 110 pounds. I knew something was really wrong, and something just didn't feel right. As I was putting documents away, my mind kept running. I went to the fridge and curiously checked the groceries we had in there. We had groceries, but I noticed that the stuff we had was entirely new. Obviously, with a family of 5 we had a lot of groceries, but everything was completely new, from the day before. I pushed it out of my mind, but I made a mental note about it. Over the next few weekends, I noticed that Lily became more withdrawn and our other girls were acting out more. They were still younger, but the tantrums were almost daily. It wasn't just tantrums. They were screaming matches and lots of slamming doors and hitting things. This hadn't happened until recently, and I noticed that Lily often had to break up the fights and would manage to calm down her sisters better than May or I. Suddenly, a few months ago, one morning, our youngest, June, F10, woke up in agonizing pain and we were going to take her to the hospital. But May insisted that she will go with June, and I will stay home with our other 2 daughters so that when they got up, we could go to the ER and they wouldn't be panicked. I helped June to the car and May drove off hurriedly. I went back indoors before I noticed that May had left her phone. This sounds like a bad movie, doesn't it? We had an open phone policy, and I was gonna look away before I saw a notification pop up. It was from her sister. At first I was going to walk away, but I checked the message and my whole world changed. Her sister had been warning May to stop the affair because if I found out, it would ruin everything. Of course I was confused. What just happened? Inclined. I scrolled back and looked in horror to see that May was admitting to her sister that she missed being with who we will call Derek, and that he made her feel so much like a woman when they were together. Messages said that she couldn't wait for her library meetings with him and that she knew it was wrong, but she started to fall in love with him. Hurriedly, I went out other messages and looked for Derek, but there was no contact. I looked into a search bar and typed Derek, and lo and behold, under a different alias named Jenny, there were nudes, sexting, and plans to meet up almost every evening of the week when I was away on business trips. I was so disgusted and I didn't know what to do. But logically I needed to ensure I had this contact, so I wrote down the number and information and put the message screen back to her sister. Suddenly, this life I had thought I was leading was crumbling down. An affair? For how long? Was it just him? Was it sexual? Emotional? Have my girls seen him? So many questions running through my mind, and behind the anger, I felt blame. If I had spent more time with May, then she wouldn't have to chase another man. After 20 minutes, I woke up the girls and we all went to the ER. On the way, I got a call from the hospital asking if I was June's father, and I said yes, and it turned out she had acute appendicitis and was in surgery. I didn't relay this to my girls who were already sleepy, and we just rode in silence with my thoughts and this whole thing. I couldn't be mad at the moment. I had to be there for June. Thankfully, June was okay and was allowed to go home after 3 days. I took off from work for the week and spent as much time with my girls as possible. May had her exam coming up and she would say goodbye to me every night at 6:30. She wanted to kiss me goodbye, but it was always painful when I knew that she kissed Derek with those same lips every night. On Thursday, when she left, Lily came out of her room and came to my room. She was tired and looked like she had been crying. I asked her what was wrong, and she admitted to me that she had seen Derek before in our house. She said him by name. Lily had been thinking of telling me for some time but was always so scared. However, she was sick of it. Not just that, oh no, there was so much I was missing. What Lily said to me was heart-aching. She admitted to me that ever since she was 5, she had to play mom. May apparently locked herself in her room all day and either slept or ate. There were periods where Lily wouldn't see me for up to 3 days at a time. Food would get so low that Lily would have to make 3 to 4 trips to the grocery store and back on her bike, just to get a decent amount of groceries. She had been learning to cook but wasn't very good at it. Additionally, she felt like her mom never liked her. She said she had tried to talk to May on various occasions about depression symptoms, but her mom always said that what she was feeling was normal. Then, Lily said she was worried about her weight to May, and May said that Lily wasn't at her ideal body weight yet and she needed to continue restricting meals. Yes, you heard that right. She was telling Lily to have 1 meal a day, that being lunch. Lily had tennis for 6 hours a day, biked close to 10 miles, swam for 2 hours, and then had to watch over her siblings. I was sick. I wanted to throw things. I wanted to scream at May. I wanted to divorce her and sue her, and everything was so red. Lily said she hadn't told me because she was scared too. And God, everything now was making sense. I told Lily that this would be last time that May anything like that to her, and that if she wanted, I could put her into counseling to talk about her feelings. She begged me to not say anything or do anything or else it would ruin the family. She said that she would ruin the family, but I told her that this has gone too far. I told her I loved her and that I would make sure that she couldn't be hurt anymore. She asked me to promise her, and I did. It was when May got back that I wanted to tell her that I knew everything, but I decided to wait until the next day when the girls were gone. Well, the day came, and when the girls were gone I confronted May about the cheating. She denied it at first, saying that I was being ridiculous and that she would never cheat on me. However, I had prepared for this. I had messaged her sister prior to our discussion, and her sister had admitted to me that she couldn't hide this any longer. I also had her boyfriend's number written down. When I asked May about the number, she denied it. But when I asked if I could put the phone number in the search bar for her phone, she hesitated greatly before giving her phone to me. I put in the number and the messages came up. Suddenly, May was crying, begging me to not leave her and that I was everything to her. She would end the affair, that it was only because I was gone so much and she had to take care of the children. I then screamed at her, asking her about the days she locked herself in her room, where the girls had to ask friends for rides to their schools. 2 of them didn't have buses, because she couldn't get out of bed. I asked her why she didn't get Lily consoling, why Lily had to be the mom that she wasn't. May was crying and said that if I left her, she would take her life. To say I was surprised would be an understatement. May suddenly went to the kitchen and grabbed a large knife, putting it to her throat and threatening to take her life right then and there. I pleaded for her to put the knife away, but she said she would only do that if I forgave her. She said she would stop the affair and be a better mother, but I had to forgive her to do so. I said I forgave her and then she cried into my shirt saying thank you. This was 2 weeks ago. Now, I am not sure what to do. I have started looking into divorce attorneys and alternate places to go with my girls. My business schedule is so busy that it will be incredibly difficult for me to get remote work, but I have emailed my boss explaining my situation. The issue I am having is that our family is over 16 hours away. I haven't told my parents, I haven't told anyone. Besides Reddit now. I want to divorce May and take my daughters. I have found a cheap 2-bedroom condo that is on sale. I sent out an email asking the landlord how much it would be to move in as soon as possible. I can't mess with our accounts at the moment or else May will become suspicious. It's so difficult having to do this because May has reminded me that I forgave her and that we should move on for the sake of the girls. She apparently broke it off with Derek, but I think she's with him. I feel stuck between a rock and a hard place. I hope to update when my boss gets back to me. Sorry if this was a ramble. I have no one to share this with in real life and I feel like my world is falling apart. I am home right now taking a few remote days so I can watch over my daughter. I don't know what it is like being a single dad. I will have to fight tooth and nail to make sure that I even get my girls. May can easily concoct a story saying that I was abusive, and that she should have the girls because I am often away on work and am not willing to co-parent with her. I don't know. Thanks for listening. Update. My wife, F48, has been cheating on me, M41, while neglecting our 3 children. Waiting to file for divorce but scared I won't get my children. I apologize if this is not the right way to update. I am not really sure how to update it, if it is making a new post or editing the other one. Truthfully, I am not very used to Reddit. Additionally, I am sorry if it has taken this long to update. Things have been moving quite slowly to my dismay. So, I want to thank everyone for your encouraging words and advice. It really has helped me clear my head and start to formulate a plan of what to do. Though I am still a little uncertain of my future, I have decided to take all of your guys' advice and hire a private investigator. There have been no exact pictures update as of yet, but they said they would hope to get back to me at the end of this week. Additionally, I have set up a few hidden cameras in my bedroom, the door entrance, the kitchen, and the garage. It took a while to rig, but they have been tracking the house for a few days now. With me being home for quite a bit, May has not had the opportunity to possibly meet with Derek. She has made clear guidelines that until she gets her license, she will be out between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Do I still think she is cheating on me during those times? Yes, I do. But at those moments, I try to make plans with my girls and spend some alone time with them. This could be watching one of their favorite movies, making a fort and reading books, having a campfire and roast marshmallows, or going to the pool to night swim. I think they have been enjoying the times we have with each other. Lily says that she really appreciates the time we have together. She also said that June and Abby also have been enjoying the moments. It makes me feel incredibly guilty about the times I have not been there for them due to my business trips. The next issue I am having is that my boss wants me to start flying for trips again. This job pays good money, but I have started to look into other companies that would be able to accompany my situation. The position I work in is very niche and difficult to find. So many companies are consistently looking for someone to fill in this role, or have another one of these positions on board. For the update part, there has not been a lot going on. However, I did reach out Jane and told her that we needed to discuss. She instantly knew what I was talking about and said that she would not be able to talk until next week, but she would be willing to answer any questions I have. To be honest, there are a lot of questions running through my head, but I can't seem to put them down in a notepad or anything. Jane knows May has done something, and I think the guilt is starting to eat at her. I am hoping that when we call, I will be able to have my questions formatted so it is ask and answer. I am thinking of recording the call, but I am not sure if that would be okay. As for May, she has resumed being fine. I have made an effort to ask her to get in counseling. I even offered for marriage counseling. I know that we won't be married once I have things sorted out, but I want to try and understand why she has done this to our family. Maybe she just doesn't care about what we have built. However, I have made a promise to myself and my girls that I will try every route to ensure that nothing ever happens to them again. I am sorry that this update is not more thrilling exciting, but I thought you guys deserve an update. I hope the next time I post I will have better news. Again, thank you everyone for your input. It really knocked me to my feet and realizing that this is not something all in my eyes. My daughters are my priority. Thanks again. Second story. Discovered GF was talking with other men, seeking advice. Basically for context of what happened me, M19 and my GF, F18 have been together for almost a year and things have been great. We talk regularly, go out on dates often, and spend lots of time together. I am currently in the Army National Guard and she is about to go to college with plans to work in the government field. We met in high school, but didn't start dating until our senior year, and she is honestly just great. Family and friends have asked often if we would stay together considering me in the military and her going into college, and I have always felt so safe and comfortable answering yes. We do plan to stay together. We discussed it before but I've always trusted her and never once doubted her loyalty, until last night. She recently returned from a trip to Europe with her mother and seemed to have a ton of fun. I went to her house yesterday to spend the day together since we hadn't seen each other in a little over a week. It was just another good day being with her and her family. We went and picked blueberries so she could make her famous blueberry muffin cookies, which were delicious by the way. And we spent the rest of the day chilling, watching TV, and just enjoying our quality time like usual. She ended up taking a nap and my phone died while she was sleeping on top of me. As to not wake her by putting it on the charger, I simply grabbed her phone and continued watching the YouTube video I was watching, just on her phone. She then woke up, and just asked what I was doing and I told her just that. She then got up and went to use the restroom and get one last batch of cookies in the oven. And I seen a notification from one of those apps to make friends you'd see on TikTok or Instagram. She had told me she had the app before but never uses it anymore since she was dating me, just that she never got around to deleting it. I brushed it off at the time, not giving it any thought because I trust her. I then attempted to swipe away from the notification and I clicked on it. Me being curious, I read the message because it was from some guy and I seen that she had been frequently using this app and lied about it. She had been texting guys, many of them hitting on her, and she was encouraging it. I wouldn't necessarily consider some of this cheating, I guess, but she, however, was being very friendly with some of these guys. For example, I read a conversation that had one of these guys hitting on her saying, "Let me marry you and let's make out," and she would respond, "Okay, or say I'm on my way," as in a joking matter, But to me, you didn't feel all that funny. Most of these conversations would end in them giving each other their socials such as Snapchat or Instagram. So naturally, I followed them to her Snapchat and Instagram, and many of these guys would continue to head on her, and she would not encourage it, but they would snap back and forth with a couple cases. Her saving these guys' snaps in chat with them flexing or just pictures of their face, with me already very angry and my heart pounding out of my chest at this point. She walked back in the room, and I told her I was tired and wanted to go home, with me being dropped off at her house instead of driving there. I was going to have her bring me home, so she drove me home, and we didn't talk much on the way home. But she knew that there was something wrong with me because I seemed kind of pissed off, but didn't really say anything. It wasn't until we pulled into my driveway when I said, "There's something that I wanted to talk to you about." I then told her that I had clicked on the notification and naturally got curious and looked through some of these messages and chats, and then followed them to her Snapchat and Instagram, and went through some of these chats. I told her that I wanted her to be honest with me and not lie to me to spare my feelings, but that she needed to explain to me what the hell was going on. She told me that she knows she messed up, and that she shouldn't have had the app, that she had it before we were dating and just never got around to deleting it, and that she did like friends, but most of these guys were just hitting on her, and she should have told me about it and she shouldn't have been so stupid. She said that there was nothing else that I didn't know about and that it will never happen again, mind you. She was saying all of this in tears, and I was in tears because I thought that she was cheating on me. And I don't exactly know how to feel about this situation. Wasn't out here having intercourse with other guys, and to my knowledge she wasn't sending any explicit photos or receiving them or encouraging anything like that. But on the other hand, she was still talking to these guys and encouraging the compliments and hitting on her, and she was hiding it all behind my back. Conversation last night, I told her basically that if this ever happens again, if I find anything else, that we are done. That this can never happen again and it better not happen again. She agreed that she messed up. She apologized a million times. By the end of the conversation in the car last night, I told her that I was willing to forgive her, but that it can never happen again. I told her that next time a guy hits on her or says anything in that type of manner, that I would extremely appreciate if she would come and tell me. I told her that all of this was completely over the line, and I was not happy with her. I did expect our relationship to be over last night, but I told myself last night that I just needed to forgive her and push it out of my head. But most of today I keep thinking about it, and it honestly feels like a betrayal, as if she were cheating. Even though she wasn't at the same time. I don't know how to feel about this. We're currently on normal speaking terms, and I'm trying to act as if last night never happened, is to not cause any more problems. I do feel like she is truly sorry, but she has broken the trust that I had for her before. If any of you guys have advice or any words of encouragement, I would love to hear them. I just don't know, a little dramatic, or if my feelings are justified. Third story. Observed that a dating app last used recently in GF's phone settings. My 36M, GF, 36F, have been in a serious and committed relationship for 1 year. Yesterday she got a new iPhone and was cleaning out some of her photos and unused apps on her old phone before she activated the new one. While we were laying in bed, she was scrolling through her iPhone storage to delete the apps that she doesn't use. And I noticed that Hinge was offloaded and in the cloud due to inactivity. However, it showed that it was last used about 3.5 months ago. The date that it displayed was 1 day after we got back from vacation, and she was with me the entire day. And I haven't noticed any red flags or suspicious behavior throughout our relationship. Is this a cause for concern, or should I let it go? I feel that I should take note of it and observe instead of approaching her about it. Update. Not proud of this, but she gave me her passcode to help her set up her new phone, which included all her photos from the cloud. and looked into the recently deleted and hidden folders to see if I could find any clues about pics or screenshots of convos and topics of interest that she was sharing, and didn't find anything that confirmed any suspicions or that she was hiding anything from me. Unfortunately, text messages and apps weren't available because I provided bad advice and had her factory reset on her old device, and they didn't get backed up to the cloud, and were erased from her old phone, and didn't transfer to her new one. Update: GF liked a former FWB's Instagram photo. Update: original post below. Checked her phone while she was asleep and only found old convos. Her Instagram history showed that she searched him after our date night, while I was asleep next to her, and there were no other searches. I'm thinking this was a one-time thing, and that she was curious like we all can be from time to time. Also discussed boundaries with exes but didn't bring this particular situation up. Interestingly, she immediately came out and said that she's never spoken to or entertained exes when I brought up my expectations, even though I never asked her if she did. Not sure if that's a red flag. Hi everyone. My girlfriend, 37F, and I, 36M, have been together for a little over a year and plan on getting married soon. We met at work 5 years ago and were friends before we started dating because I was in a relationship at the time. Prior to us dating, she hooked up several times with one of our co-workers who eventually went off to the military, which she told me about. The last contact that she had with him was a happy birthday DM that he sent to her a few months ago, and she simply replied with thank you. Today I decided to check his IG profile out of sheer curiosity, and also because I can be a little insecure, and noticed that she recently liked an old photo of his from almost 2 years ago. Is there any cause for concern, or am I being insecure? It seemed odd to me that she found the need to look him up and like an old photo out of nowhere. He doesn't live in the area anymore but most likely visits home during the holidays. To add extra context, we are very happy in our relationship and she is head over heels for me. Update: background story. I was in a relationship most of the 5 years that we were friends, and also let myself go by getting fat and out of shape. She always seemed to be very flirty over the years, so I thought I had a chance when I finally became single, and went in for the kiss a few drunken times, only to get rejected. I ended up forgetting about her and worked on my physique and got in really good shape. I also started casually dating again and made it no secret that I was doing so. During this time she was sleeping with the co-worker off, and that is in question in this post, until he went to basic training. I noticed that she started finding reasons to be near me and hang out all of a sudden. So I chalked it up to being in shape and social proof from all the dates I was getting. I also got promoted at work and had a potentially lucrative career ahead of me. I played hard to get until she threw herself at me, and we developed a strong relationship over the last 1.5 years. She claimed that she never saw me as more than a friend until we ended up in bed one drunken night. She initiated. Not sure if this provides any insight to this situation, but I figured I'd share the backstory with you. Any insight is appreciated. Update: missed call and voicemail from another man. Feel free to take a look at my previous posts to get a better understanding of my concerns and more background on my relationship. I'd like to think that I'm being overly paranoid and haven't found any additional evidence of those suspicions until this new event unfolded 8 months ago. My 37M, GF, 37F, works a customer service sales role where she regularly meets with potential clientele throughout the day. Last October she fell asleep, and her phone started to ring on a Sunday night, around 8:30 p.m. from a number that wasn't saved in her contacts. I noticed the caller left a voicemail, and we've always shared each other's phone passwords, so I decided to unlock her phone and listen. It was from a male client who she met a few weeks earlier at work, who said that he was calling her to follow up on the great conversation they had about travel, etc. and possibly getting a drink at some point, and that he was sorry that it took so long to call her because he was out of town and forgot to bring the post-it note with her phone number written on it. Keep in mind that she is not allowed to provide personal phone numbers to clientele and isn't allowed to discuss business with them outside of the office since she is paid hourly. I recorded the voicemail for evidence and did a reverse lookup of the phone number, which turned out to be a 52-year-old bald man who looked overweight, so I wasn't too worried. She also works in a predominantly LGBTQ area and is primarily friends with gay men, so I thought maybe he might be gay. I moved on without confronting her and erased the voicemail and missed from her phone and lightly monitored her for the past 8 months to see if there was anything suspicious. We also share each other's locations, which gives me an extra layer of comfort that she isn't trying to hide anything. Fast forward to last night with a little background. We are planning on getting engaged and will be getting a place together at the end of August. I was helping her organize her things at her apartment and prepare for the move when I noticed there was a business card from the man that left her the voicemail mixed in with her clutter. I took the opportunity to casually ask her if she wanted me to throw away the business card and if she remembers who it's from. She stared at it for a second and said no. I asked if it was possibly from a client and she said IDK and threw it in the trash. I grabbed it out of the trash and stashed it away for later after she walked away and plan on confronting her about it after work today. This is the first time in our 2-year relationship where I feel she has lied to me, and I don't know how to approach the situation. The only other red flag that stands out in our relationship is her being disrespectful to me when she gets blackout drunk, which I've addressed and almost left her on a few occasions. I also have a new career that is very time-consuming and stressful, and don't need any nonsense in my life. I'm going to give her another opportunity to explain it to me and want your opinions on whether or not this should be a deal breaker. I'm more concerned about her lying than I am about cheating since I haven't found any evidence, but know that one could lead to the other. Thanks in advance.